with social distancing and all the things that come with that. The online classes may not be a big deal for many of you, but if you were taking online classes before, because some of you were doing that, but some of you it's changed dramatically. Even if you were taking online classes, your life has probably changed a lot. You are maybe working from home yourself or on hold from your job. Kids are home, and that adds a whole nother level of craziness in your life. Even grocery store runs are stressful as you search for toilet paper and hand sanitizer. I had a friend the other day who said his car was broken into, and all they took was hand sanitizer and the change he had in the tray. So that's become our new norm is to do that. For those of you who stop by our office often for a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or hot cocoa from the graduate grind, we miss you. For others of you who have dropped off forms or maybe just came to see us from time to time, your presence is also greatly missed. It's so quiet on campus and so different when you're not around. You bring the energy and excitement, and we really miss you. And so we just want you to know that we want to try to find some ways to reach out to you, and this is going to be one of our ways to do that. Nina Marianovic is our producer for this live chat, and given that this is a social hour, we want to hear from you, and she's going to be kind of coordinating all your chats and questions and some of those things so that we can make sure that we make this interactive and not just me talking the whole time. I have a list of topics I want to cover, but given this is a social hour, again, I want to hear from you. I want to know who's seen the new Lego Master show, and I've heard it's gotten great reviews and it looks very clever. What are some of your new maybe shows or movies that you've seen on Netflix that you want to maybe share with others? Say, gosh, this is a must see. Maybe some dishes you've tried to cook with whatever you can find in your pantry, because I think we're all getting a little creative in our cooking right now. Or finding some of the places that do great takeout. So that's been fun too, or delivery. What digital hangouts have you tried that have been working really well for you? Maybe just some other things that have been working well for you in this situation, and what are some things that maybe have been challenging for you? And then also a big question is, what do you want to know from us? What are some of the questions about campus or your situation that has changed, pretty dramatically? And so we want to make sure that we can provide some information, reassurance, and some of those kinds of things while we're going about doing that. So just type your comments, questions, and ideas into that chat function, and we will we'll answer those questions as we go along. So, but for right now, we're going to Spencer Stone, who's our graduate Office of Graduate Student Success graduate assistant. He's going to join us now to share some student tips and ideas, things that he's found, and we'll maybe field some questions as well. So I'm going to let Spencer take it away.
Perfect. Margaret, thank you so much for that. And I think I can definitely echo your sentiment in that we're all hoping for the best with people out there. And as Margaret mentioned, I'm just the GA here at the Graduate Student Success Office, and I have a great perspective of being a student here at U of L and being in the middle of all this as well. And would just like to share some things that I found very useful to stay informed about the COVID virus, and then also some studying tips that I found useful as well. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm one of the many people in quarantine right now, just hanging out here at my house, and making the best of it. The first thing that I would like to say is more at a local level, and I will be posting all of these in our chat so everybody can have access to these as well. The first site that I found of incredible resource is actually done through the city government of Louisville at louisvilleky.gov, and these are daily updates that Mayor Fisher has been giving. Typically around 5 p.m. he gives us a brief breakdown of everything that's going on in the city, whether it's funding that has come in, different projects that they're working on for the virus, and different recommendations that have come in through health experts. These have been very, very informational, and they actually are in similar video chat sessions like this, so people can tune in, and they also can chime in with questions if they have time for it, which is incredibly useful. The second one have been actually from larger information conglomerates, both Bing and Google, have websites that they've built where it not only tracks data for the virus, but it also gives you different news updates and things of that nature. So you can track things that are that are going on nationwide, worldwide, and at different levels of the virus. And honestly, it has been very, very helpful and reassuring to know that people are really coming together over this, which is, it's a cool thing to see. The other side of this is that being a student during this is a huge shift in how you study. There are so many things that you don't really think of right off the bat, but you soon come to the realization that there are a lot of things that you have to change in your study habits. The first tip that I would have as a student that I've really had to buckle down on is time scheduling. Blocking off your day and having a set schedule, whether it's in your phone, on an actual planner, has been paramount for me. Absolutely. Using some sort of planning device has been probably the best thing that I've done, and making sure you use that to block off your appointments and then fit study time around that has been great. The second thing, like most millennials, I love social media, and I've had to slot times during the day where I have that as my designated time, and that's it. I'll leave it after like a half hour of Instagram or 15 minutes of Facebook or Twitter, whatever it may be. Be very diligent with how you use that, because when you're stuck at home, that's an easy trap to fall into. Yeah, using social media blocks and time is very, very key there. And then the last thing that I found very, very useful is engaging with other students. And probably the best ways that I've seen this come around is either through email. Discussion boards on Blackboard have been very useful as well in staying in touch with students and fellow classmates. And even shooting texts over to students that I might have engaged with previously on projects has been incredibly helpful. Just because we're isolated doesn't mean that we can't communicate. So engaging with other students on discussion, whether it be for class material or just seeing how they're doing, honestly has been fantastic for me in staying connected with my material and with my colleagues as well. So yeah, like I said, I'll be posting these tips in our discussion just over in our group chat here. And if you guys do have any questions for me, please let me know. I'm here to help you guys and make sure that everything goes smoothly during this. So thank you so much for your time. And Margaret, I believe, has a couple more updates for us right now.
Unmute. There you go. All of us are learning a lot of new ways of doing our work. All our meetings now are on a type of different kind of formats, and so we're using Teams a lot, and so team chats, team videos, team meetings. So all of us here at the university are learning some new ways of doing things as well. So as I listen to some of the tips that Spencer had, and actually I've been very dependent on the folks who are much more tech savvy than some of us have been, and so we're getting up to speed. So I think in many ways it's helping us all to learn how to do our work maybe a little bit differently, and which is not a bad thing to do. So I'm excited about that. I want to talk to you about a few topics at least in somewhat of a sequential order, that are things that are upcoming that really you need to be kind of thinking about and be aware of. You also may have some questions or concerns about some of these, and so I really want to make sure that we have some time to answer any of your questions about them. Registration begins on March 31st, which is 1 week from today. And so at 10:30, so don't call me at 9 and say, oh, I couldn't register because it's not open yet. It doesn't open until 10:30. So be sure that you know that you can start registering then for summer and fall. And then that's next week. So remember, registration 1 week away. If you're finishing all your degree requirements this semester, good for you, yay, we'll celebrate with you, but be sure that you've applied for your degree. You have to go to ULink to do that, so go into ULink and apply for a May degree. If you're graduating in the summer, that won't be open until the next day. I think on April 15th they open it for summer, so just be sure that you apply, but for May is very important that you hit that deadline so that you can be able to actually graduate in May. And so we're working hard to do that. And which kind of leads me to commencement. It really just breaks my heart because commencement is actually one of my favorite days of the year. I look forward to that more than anything, that we have being there to celebrate with our students, to make sure that we are there to. For many of you, you've worked so hard to be there, and so for us not to be able to have that ceremony at May when you've just finished really breaks my heart, but we will celebrate with you. It's been postponed to December. You will have your own ceremony, and I promise you we'll make it as special as we possibly can for those of you who had to wait. And so I guess, you know, it's just wise in this time of social distancing and trying to make sure that people are safe that we take those steps now to make that happen. I think there was a lot of talk about, do we wait just a little bit longer to decide, but there's just so many pieces that go into making that day happen that we really did think it would be, the university thought it would be better to postpone it just a bit. So we mourn with you because that, but that is our situation. So we're going to make it work. You've gotten a communication last week about, excuse me, about the pass-fail option. That's available for graduate students as well. You can talk with your instructor about pass-fail if you want to, but you don't have to. You can just decide to do that. That your instructors won't know if if you've selected pass-fail. The grades will be posted by the instructor, and actually it'll go into the system in PeopleSoft, and you will be assigned the grade of pass-fail. And so your instructor will just may give you a C, but you would still be passed, or give you even a D. And I think C- is the lowest that grad students can make and still have a pass. But it could be that, and your transcript is going to reflect that. Now, the transcripts for this semester will reflect that this was a one-time, and that some of the, you know, that this was a one-time situation. So there will be a little asterisk, I think, on your transcript, how they're describing it, to indicate that this was a special semester and that pass-fail grades are going to be accepted, especially if you're thinking about a doctoral program or some other program where you, or something where you have to have a certain grade for something. That would be something that will be noted on your transcript. Just got the information just about an hour ago that all of our summer school classes will be online this summer. That communication will be coming out sometime today. So we'll be moving all of our graduate classes and all courses will be online for this summer. Again, it's just the not knowing how long this is going to take and all the information, all the things that we would have to do. Some of you are going to be doing internships and practicum and some of those other kinds of things where you actually usually are physically located there. I just talked with your chairs, and what they're going to be asking you to do is to go ahead and apply for register for those courses, those internship, practicum, and those kinds of courses, so that you would be available to, and then they'll do as much remote as they can. And then some things may be much better by then, and you be able to be physically located there. But we want you to go ahead and make sure that it doesn't delay your being able to get, to progress in your degree program. So we'll be making adjustments as we go, but all the courses for summer will be online. So those are just some things that I have. Now I want to give you a time to talk. I've done a lot of talking. I've got some things to finish up with, but I want to hear from you. What are some of the questions that you have, or some of the things that are going on with you, and some of your thoughts and things that are happening? Do you have any questions?
I'm sending one to you directly into the chat, so just 1 second while I finish typing it out.
Okay, great. Oh, how will grad students get their diploma? Has that changed? It has not changed. Grad students now get their diplomas. You can pick them up in a Houchins building. If that's not available, they will be mailing them to your house. Typically, the people who live in Jefferson County and some of the surrounding counties, there's a geographic region that's close by that they request that you come by to campus to pick up your diploma. But if you're not on campus, if the Houchins building is not open, they will be mailing them to you. So that will be the only change. Will registration be extended? Registration is actually open until we have, it starts next week on Tuesday, but it's open until the end of the first week of classes. So it won't be shut down at all between March 31st and the end of the first week of classes in August, you know, or until the end of the first week of classes in the summer. So you'll have an extended time to be registered whenever you need to. Any fun things going on? Okay, you're struggling with the online format for class. What's the best way to prepare? I'm going to let Spencer talk a little bit about that, so because he's in classes, but I've got some thoughts as well. So Spencer, do you want to answer this question?
All right, Spencer, you're live, but your mic is muted. All right, you're good now.
Perfect. Yeah, the best way to prepare for classes. I found that the best way for me to prepare for class has been, man, that's I don't know if too much has actually changed for me now that I'm thinking about it. You know, in preparing for class, I've been pretty diligent in going through most material that I've had. I'd say the only thing that's really changed has been communication with my professors, and being very, very diligent in trying to understand what they need from students in these moments and what they're expecting. It's always kind of tough to really pick out what your professors might be wanting during online formats. So being very explicit with them and being upfront with, you know, expectations as to what they want from us is probably the best thing that I've had to, yeah, do that. And then let's see, another question that just came in, how to stay in touch with your friends and family. I'm concerned about that. Yeah, absolutely. I also have family that's out of state. I'm brand new to the Louisville area, and Marco Polo is actually something that just barely came across my technology desk a couple days ago, and barely jumped on that. So I'd say Marco Polo has been a fantastic way to do that. It's a simple video service. You can just record short videos. It's kind of like Vine on steroids, I guess, if you want to call it that. But yeah, Marco Polo has been great. And see if there's anything else. And honestly, I've been using a lot of phone calls. Believe it or not, I've been doing a lot more phone conversation lately than anything. So yeah, don't hesitate to use, I guess, more archaic ways, as you would call it. Yeah, using just normal phone chat has been fantastic for me. If those aren't readily available, yeah, we might have to get creative and see what we can do then. But those have been the best ways for me that I've definitely stayed in touch. Marco Polo, I'd definitely give that a big thumbs up for any fans of video services out there.
Am I back on now?
Yes, ma'am.
Did it switch? Okay. Spencer had some great suggestions, but again, you know, good communication with your faculty is always going to be very important. If you're finding that you're maybe not getting what you need, you may, you know, or maybe they're not as responsive as you would need, please let us know. We're able to maybe help with some chairs. Maybe a lot of this is new for faculty as well, so be patient with them. It's a different way of them teaching and doing things, and so we want to make sure that we take good care of them, as you know, take good care of faculty as well. So we're trying to support them. If they're missing something or not being as responsive as you think they might need to be, then please let us know so that we can support faculty on our end. It won't be punitive at all. It's just going to be a way to, again, support. Any other questions, Nina? I'm trying to juggling back and forth between chat and the video it's just a little bit difficult, but you know, the quarantine has brought a lot of challenges to all of our everyday lives, you know, both professionally and personally. Now we're unexpectedly isolated or working from home, and maybe many of us for the first time ever. It probably sounded like a dream come true at first, you know, the opportunity to not to have a set schedule, to be sleep late, to avoid even a schedule, maybe lay in bed, watch TV some. Then you wake up and realize maybe this wasn't all that you had expected it to be. And so there could be a loss of motivation, maybe depression, a lack of purpose, or phenomena that sneak up on us. And so I guess we're really concerned about each of these things each day, and how every one of us has recently lost so much, you know, of our freedoms and the control of our lives. Our lives have changed. And so, and it's actually justifiably, we should be maybe a little anxious, lonely, and a little bit worried about things. So, you know, I have some tips about what we can do, and I'm going to talk about those in just a few minutes. I see that we have a question now about the GAs registering for anything in person. We'll work on that. We have ways to, and actually it hasn't come out yet. I'm not sure what the even the summer school, given that it's going to be required. I think that the additional fees may be not something that may be in the future for that, because it's, you know, again, we're trying to work a lot of these things out. So don't quote me on this, but I'll be surprised if there's the same additional cost this summer for online courses. And so when that communication comes out from the university, they'll send it to you, but we'll also be sure that we send it out via some of our listservs as well. But GAs will not be penalized or will be required to pay for their online courses given. And that's a very good question, because GAs are now required to pay for distance ed courses. So I'm always watchful for those kinds of things for GAs, since I get to work with all of our GAs. Any other questions?
None that are coming.
Okay. Well, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it had this, like, you know, because I think a lot of us are trying to think about how do we navigate this new reality of where we are, and so one of the things that that they, like the things I was talking about, you know, feeling isolated, maybe anxious, a lot of things are out of our control right now. So what can you take control of? And the answer to that is you. We can take control of our thoughts, our actions, how we respond to the circumstances that are surrounding us right now, whatever our reality is. And it, you know, it's going to vary from person to person. Mine hasn't changed that much, because I'm still coming into the office every day and working my usual schedule. I'm trying to learn some of the new technology and some of the meeting tools that are online. I've tried Marco Polo. I agree, it's actually a lot of fun and a great way to touch base with folks, and especially your friends. And it's a quick and easy and lots of fun. So I would second that one. But you can take, you know, really is about taking control of your life and your circumstances. And here's some suggestions. This podcast gave, you know, some really good thoughts about making sure that you keep your momentum both professionally and personally. And so it was a 15-point day plan. And so you get 1 point each day for what you've been able to do. So it's just to challenge yourself to have a 12 to 15 point every day. And so the personal plan that they had said, maybe number one was to start early, set an alarm and rise and go ahead and get your day started, you know, like you normally would, and make your bed. That's just one of those things that just kind of set your day up. You've gotten off to a great start. Shower, get dressed, groom yourself like you're going out to the world, and again, then prepare for your day. You know, I know it sounds like really wonderful to be able to sit in your yoga pants or sweatpants or your running shorts all day, but there's a mindset that comes from actually, you know, preparing yourself for what you're going to be working on in your work that you're doing. Another tip was avoid drinking calories. It's easy for us when we're home to be able to pick things up and, you know, just have an extra cup of this or an extra glass of this, but the calories add up. And so now we're not able to get quite as much activity. And so it's, you know, it kind of adds up. Be sure you get the proper amount of sleep, not too much, but not too little. So don't stay up all night watching movies and then sleeping really late, or just sleeping most of the time. Try to make sure that you have, again, the right amount of sleep each day. Eat responsibly. Make sure you're taking good care of yourself, especially with all the viruses going around. You'll make sure that you're at your healthiest. Keep a positive mindset and intentionally avoid negativity. I think that positive mindset is so important about battling some of the anxiousness, the depression. I find myself, I just have to turn off the news sometimes. There's just so much out there, and it's just coming at you all the time. So watching how much you watch of that, and maybe making sure that you only, as you talk about your day, Spencer, scheduling that out, make sure that you only watch so much a day, because if you do, it's kind of overwhelming, and it again can feed into some of that negativity. A journal. This might be a good time, now that you have a little more time on your hand, to actually do some writing, to write some things down, journal about this experience. This will be something you'll be able to tell your children or people who come after you. When you're old, you'll be able to say, back in 2020, we had this incredible pandemic, and this is what we did, because this is like a once in 100, like I saw something on the news the other day, so this happens about once every 100 years to have something like this. And so, if it's a 100-year thing, then you might want to be, doing a little journaling about it and write some things down about, how it affected you and what some things were going on with it. Pray or have some quiet time each day, whatever you're, just making sure that you keep your mind kind of centered, and you have, some time to kind of reflect and to let go of some of that anxiousness, some, affirmation talk or whatever fuels you. Be sure you find a little time each day to do some of that. Practice gratitude. I think it's so important to, again, be grateful for what we do have. Many of us we are fortunate we have computers. I'm so glad that I have the technology. I'm so glad I have Nina and Spencer to help guide me through some of these new steps that we're going through, because I really have depended heavily on them to help me with these things. So be grateful to the people, and to be grateful for things that are going on around you. Find some time for practice gratitude. Think about your goals. What is it you're about? Kind of renew that. Renew those things that you're actually working for and thinking about. Try to find humor. There's so many funny things out there about this pandemic. I mean, the jokes, the memes, the things. I mean, some of it is just hilarious. I look on, some of your social media, and you just see some really funny, cool stuff, and I go, yep, that's, so find some humor in every day. Work on a hobby. Find some, Spencer said he was learning to play the guitar. He picked it up a little while ago, and he's now doing some online things and actually picking it up. And I've gotten back to doing some of my sewing. I love to sew, and so been making safety face masks for some of the medical workers. It's something I've always loved to do, is sew, but I've kind of put it aside because I work crazy hours. And so now with social media, I mean, with the working remotely and then going home at the end of the day with not being able to go out much, I'm able to work on that. So it's been a lot of fun. Which also leads me to the next one. Do something for someone else. You may have a neighbor that can't get out, or there may be a child that you're aware of whose parents can't help them with their schoolwork, and you can. So think about things that you could do for other people, and reach out there and help others as well. And then another one is work an appropriate number of hours. This is number 15, not too much, but not too little. So just, you want to make sure that you do some things, but not too much. But most of all, take good care of yourself during this time. We're here to support you and help you. Communicate with us. Let us know how you're doing, and just know that we're going to get through this together. So those are my comments. And do we have any other questions or comments or thoughts? What's working for you? What's not?
There are no other posted questions. However, I've just made available a Facebook link that was just titled "Funny Group on Facebook." So
thanks, Nina.
Check it out, especially if you have Facebook.
There's some really clever things out there. Some folks are really doing some fun stuff. Okay. Any other questions? Well, we're going to do these on Tuesdays. And so we'll be touching base with you and reaching out. Know that we're here. We're going to be here to help you. So we're open. We just, like I said, how we go about doing this is going to be a little bit differently, but the why is always the same. We're always here to support and to help our students during these times. if there's not any more questions, I think we may be finished. Are we done?
I've just posted a quick reminder about our shared email account. So if there's
Okay, great.
that you didn't want to ask in a shared group chat format, please make sure then to drop us a line at CEHD GSS@louisville.edu, and a member of our team will get back to you.
Great. And so, yes, we'll get back with you quickly. And like I said, we're working our regular hours, and we're working really hard to be respond as quickly as we can to your situations, questions, or concerns. We'll all be all hands on deck next Tuesday as people start registering. So if there's any situations that arise, holes or things, please let us know, and we'll work to take care of those as quickly as we can. We want to make sure that we make this process go as seamlessly as possible. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. Share the word, let people know that we're here, and we'll be glad to help you in any way that we can.
Greetings from behind the curtain. So I've been the one that's been toggling the images back and forth. This is just a quick reminder that we're going to end our session here right now, even though we've officially billed it as a 60-minute session. However, we want to be respectful of your time, especially if you're joining us during your lunch break or during any other breaks you may have. So just as a heads up, as a attendee for our event, you'll be able to review a copy of this video on your own time, and I will pull a copy as well just to share with our wider listserv as well. Again, don't forget about our email address for any other questions or issues that you may run into, particularly with the upcoming registration season, but even if it's not registration related, we'd love to hear from you. So for now, on behalf of our entire team, and I'll flash their faces here just again really briefly, we hope that you will take care and be safe and enjoy our new life and our new little bit of a new experience. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you all again then next week.